Good morning. Still waiting for him to come over from the other facility. Just give us a couple minutes.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yep.
And stay.
Right. Grab one of these chairs with you.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Wise, correct?
Good morning. Yes, ma'am.
We'll be right with you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Wise,
Yes, ma'am.
we're just gonna be doing another case really quickly, so you're gonna hear us talking. Just don't say anything, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good morning, my name is Parole Officer Nicholizzi. Today is Wednesday, March 12th, 2025, and this is a case review for Davon Eldemire, number 381261, of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Paroles. The following board members are present this morning, and by stating their names on the record, certify that they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information for this hearing.
Nancy Turner.
Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Panel member Barry.
Mr. Eldemire is serving a sentence of 14 years jail and 6 years of special parole for assault first, robbery first, criminal possession of a pistol, illegal carrying a pistol without a permit, risk of injury to a child, and criminal act while out on bond. Mr. Eldemire has waived his discretionary parole, and this hearing is being conducted to set special parole stipulations. At this time, the panel will now deliberate and set the special parole conditions.
So I make a motion in the matter of Davon Eldemire to set the following conditions for his special parole supervision. Halfway house placement, behavior management for domestic violence, no contact with victim initials AMK, general no contact with Jasmine Bryant, and a stay away from the S&K store at 856 Fairfield Avenue, Bridgeport. Do I have a second?
Madam Chair, can we do the Jasmine Bryant without the parole officer's permission, just in case they have a child in common? Because I thought that's what I read, that they were, could be wrong.
He has a daughter with Tatiana and one with Mariah.
Okay, all right, thank you. Sure.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
This concludes the case review for to set special parole conditions for Davon Eldemire for 381261. Mr. Wise, you all set?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Parole Officer McGlizzy. Today is Wednesday, March 12th, 2025, and this is a hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Paroles. The following board members are present this morning, and by stating their names on the record, certify that they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and pertinent information for this hearing.
Nancy Turner, good morning.
Morning, Deborah Smith Palmieri.
Panel Member Barry, good morning, sir.
Mr. Wise, can you please state your name and inmate number for the record?
Wise, inmate number 43364.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Tobias Wise, number 403-364. He is serving a sentence of 12 years, execution suspended after 6 years, and 3 years probation for 3 counts of risk of injury. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of March 9th of 25. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows that the offender has completed domestic violence, voices, and he is currently attending school. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score falls within the moderate range risk for recidivism. Mr. Wise, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin, sir.
Good morning, ladies, and good morning, ladies. I would like to, first and foremost, I would like to take full accountability for the poor choices I made back on April 16, 2022, when my crime was committed. Being the time of me being incarcerated, I learned that it only not affected my victims, but it affected the ones around me, my family. I know that it can go away physically, but they still could be scarred mentally. So with that being said, I took the time to learn me and find me and what made me do the wrong things I did. And I don't want to go back down that road anymore. Like, I want to be able to show that I'm a proven person and that I'm not the same person I was years ago. I know I made poor choices and bad decisions that led me to where I'm at today. And taking these classes with the domestic violence, I understand a lot of things I learned from domestic violence. Voices, I learned a lot of things from voices. It's more than one way of just physical abuse. It's comes with verbally, mentally, emotionally, and domestic. And like, I just take full accountability for my action. I'm asking for another chance at society to show that I've proven myself to be a better man.
Okay, Mr. Wise. We're going to ask you questions we've prepared based on the documents available to us, and then we will discuss your case and make a decision. We'll begin this morning with my colleague, Ms. Palmieri.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Mr. Weiss. So I wanted to start off by talking about the offenses themselves. So you're charged with 3 counts of risk of injury. Can you tell me, in your words, what that was all about?
In my words, I'm gonna just give you what happened. I know I was out the night before. Like I said, poor choices, wrong decisions I made. I was out the night before, stayed out all night, and I came home the next day, and my other half went through my phone, and she seen that I was texting another girl. I was asleep, and I was woken up out my sleep. She slapped me out my sleep, and from there, things escalated. Like, I take accountability because it was my fault. It's my fault. I take accountability for me making a poor choice I made by staying out all night, knowing we just had a newborn baby. So I take the accountability for that.
Okay, but that's not what the risk of injury charges are for. I mean, I hear what you're saying, that you should have been more responsible, you shouldn't have stayed out, but it's the actions that transpired afterwards.
Miss, it was so much going on at one time. I'm going to, like, they said I was moving around. I take accountability for what I did. I apologize to my victim for what I did. I know it was wrong. It was wrong.
I mean, the police reports and the victim reports all indicate that there was a physical altercation.
It was a physical altercation. Children were there.
Children were pushed, shoved, and that the victim was bitten.
And I take full accountability for
Did you
for my
like the
poor choice.
victim?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I did read that you said that you didn't remember. You said if I hit the kids, they said I did it, but I don't remember. How is it that you don't remember? Were you?
Because I was out the night before, like I said, I was under the influence. I was under the influence.
What were you under the influence of?
Alcohol. I was drinking.
Okay. You were on probation when you committed this offense for a robbery in the first degree?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what were you doing with probation? Were you
I mean,
reporting?
I was reporting to my probation officer. I was working.
Okay. So the violation is based on these new charges.
Based off the case. It wasn't off of nothing I did. It was based off the case.
So, and then when I look through your criminal history, you have a violation of protective order, another assault third, and then what we just talked about, that you were on probation for a robbery first degree. So when I look at your incident with the victim and the children, had you already taken a domestic violence class relating to that violation of protective order in 2014?
I was incarcerated, so I never got the chance to complete it. I was with the violation protective order. I was doing the violation protective order. I was doing domestic violence, but I ended up catching the violation protective order, and I was incarcerated.
Okay, so while you were incarcerated, did you do the domestic violence program?
Completed domestic violence 2018, 2019.
Okay. All right, so when you were in for the robbery, you did the
Yes,
domestic
ma'am.
violence program?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And then I'm hearing, and we read that you did it again during this
Yes, ma'am.
incarceration.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I want to talk to me a little bit about what is different taking it this time than when you previously took it.
I mean, this time, I like last time when I took it, I really didn't get the full concept and understand everything that was going on when I took it. This time when I took it, I got the chance to actually really sit down with my peers and other people and hear their stories and what they've been through and what they did to their significant others. And sitting back and I'm accepting accountabilities, and I thought about it, everything that I did to mine and the ones around me. And it made me open my eyes to say that I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to do that. I don't want my son to think that's okay to put his hands on a woman. I don't want my daughter to think it's okay for her to let a man put her hands on him, on her.
Well, you were intoxicated. Do you think that is the reason that you put your hands on her?
I was under the influence, miss. Yes, I was under the influence. I'm taking accountability for my poor choices.
I hear that you're taking accountability. I hear that. You've said it a few times. I'm trying to drill down. I know you said that you were intoxicated, but this was quite, when you, I think maybe you used the word tussle. This was quite a physical situation happening in that house. I can only imagine how the children got involved. She was holding a child. I would think, even though if you say you're under the influence, did it ever occur to you to just back out and leave? To leave your phone and just go?
It did. I can't say right. It happened so fast, miss. It happened so fast. I'm slapped out of my sleep. I'm literally slapped out of my sleep. Literally, she literally slapped me out of my sleep.
So talk to me, what would be the steps you might take in that situation in the future?
In the future, I'm going to walk away. I'm going to walk away. I'm not going to try to put myself in a situation like that again. I'm going to walk away, which I should have did before, just walked away.
I would think, you serve time for a violation of a protective order. Wouldn't when you've done that program before, wouldn't you have talked about how important it is when things are heated like that to just walk away?
Yes, ma'am.
So I read in the report from the parole officer that you said, sometimes I get caught out in the moment and get angry. I used to have a hard time calming down, but now I let it go. How do you know that now you let it go? I mean, you're incarcerated now.
Because it's still situations in here that triggers us. We still got things in here that
Give me an example.
it
Give
could
me an
be
example of when you use these skills to walk away.
with peers. For example, if I get into it with somebody over the phone or something, I just take a few breaths and I walk away and just wait. Or somebody say I had next on the phone and I be like, no, I had next, and they want to argue. I'm not gonna argue. I'm gonna just walk away.
And when you said that I have to work not to have a lot of free time, I have to think about me. What does that mean when you tell the parole officer? And you said that in your opening statement too, that you got to learn to. I thought I don't have the exact words, but that you've got to take care of you. What is that? What do you mean by that?
Gotta be a better person for me. Meaning as in when I don't want no free time, I don't want to have no free time on my hand. I want to always have something to do. Meaning as in something positive, working, school.
It was, I want to learn to put myself first.
That's what it said. I need to learn to. And how do you think that'll help you?
It'll help me a lot because I don't got to worry about what's going on around me or other people.
I heard what you said about taking the Voices program. And when you talked about, more than domestic violence, there's more ways to harm a person, physical, emotional. How do you think this affects those children?
I mean, mentally, I know that's something they will always remember. And I know that's something they will grow up and always probably look at, like, this happened with this person. Like, physically, it can go away, but mentally, I know they will always be scarred with that.
That is a very true statement. They'll never forget that. So you've had some struggles while you've been at the facility. You have 5 disciplinary reports. Things like using somebody else's phone, refusing housing, having K2. Why are you having so much trouble following the rules?
I mean, when I first came in, it's like with the refusing housing, it was a situation where they were trying to put me somewhere I didn't feel with the refusing housing. I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel safe, and I explained that to PO. I can't say her name. I don't know her name, but I explained to her what was in that situation with the refusing housing situation.
Well, you have it twice. So there's 2 situations where
When they try to put me in the same situation. When I first came into jail. Not this jail, when I first was incarcerated back in 2022. That's where the refusing housing tickets came in at.
then you have another one at that same time frame where you're covering your window. And then why were you in possession of K2?
To be honest, I'm taking full accountability. Somebody asked me to bring something to somebody, which was the dumb on my end, putting myself in it.
That's a big risk.
Dumb. Which was dumb.
So you talked about that you were intoxicated that night. Do you think you have issues with alcohol?
I mean, like I said, I'm not a drinker, an everyday drinker. Like I drink occasionally. Like I wasn't. That night I went out, it was just. I wanted to just go out because I've been tied down for like the last month and some change with the baby was born, so I've been in the house. I just wanted to go out and just have a few drinks, and it led to me having more than just one cup of drinks. I'm not an abuser. I don't abuse alcohol, none of that.
What, somebody that abuses alcohol, what do you think that is?
Somebody that's every day, on a regular, every day.
Do you think it could be a matter of somebody that loses control when they uses it, or doesn't know when enough is enough, even if it's one time a month?
Somebody that abuses them, they don't know enough is enough. When they don't grow, when they reach their limit, when they go past their limit.
When I look back at your criminal history and you have that violation of protective order, the assault third, do those involve alcohol use also?
I can't go back there. I think I was under the influence back then when I was drinking.
Okay, and your release plan is to go to a halfway house.
Yes, ma'am.
And what do you think you need to be doing in the community? What would make you successful in the community? Because you also have 3 times you've been on community supervision and you have yet to be able to finish one of them successfully. So what do you think will help you going forward?
I mean, with the resources and stuff, I feel like I asked for the halfway house to get back to the community so that way I could take advantage of the opportunity that they got to offer as far as with jobs and me doing more programs and help me get stable housing so that way I don't have to depend on anybody or have to put myself back in the situation to have to be living with a female or anything.
Okay. So you go into a house, because you were working, you said. I had you working at Dunkin' Donuts. Is that where you were working?
I was working at Dunkin' Donuts. I had a Dunkin' Donuts job. Also had worked at Stratford car wash and oil change. I maintained a job the whole time. I never went without a job. Unemployment wasn't an issue.
Okay. So what was the issue?
Put myself in a situation, being in a situation of making a poor choice of going out my way, staying out, and being in a relationship. That's what I come to realize. That's my number one, my downfall, relationships.
So, I mean, when it comes down to it, you need to work on relationships, how to have healthy relationships, get along with other people. So you have 3 protective orders with the 3 victims in this case that go to 2043. You're aware of that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you've had obviously protective orders in the past.
Yes, ma'am.
So do you know what that means, right? To have a protective order?
It means no type of contact, no third party contact at all, ma'am.
Anything else that I should have asked you about?
Yeah.
So just to kind of summarize, so you've taken the domestic violence program currently and 1 or 2 times before this?
I took it this time and then I took it the last time.
All right, so you were taking it in the community, but you didn't finish because you were arrested. Then you took it once when you were incarcerated on the robbery charge, and then just now. So probably 2.5 times.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. All right, Mr. Weiss, thank you. I'll set Madam Chair.
Okay. So Mr. Weiss, in your opening statement, you said that during this period of incarceration, you learned me and you found me. So you went on to say what made you do wrong things. So tell us, what did you learn about yourself as to why you were doing these wrong things, AKA crimes?
Well, my crime, I like I say, it happened. I take accountability for the poor choices I made.
I've heard that multiple times.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
asking
going
about what about you? Why?
I was still like in a dark place at times, stressed out. But as me coming to jail this time around, being around a lot of people who's got time and stuff, I was able to sit down and learn from them, from the mistakes they made that put them in today. And like I
Okay,
said, I don't want to.
I'm going to go back to your comment about stress. So stress is a part of everyday life as adults. There's all kinds of pressure and responsibilities, whether it's raising children and providing for them, or getting along with your boss, managing your transportation, paying your bills. Life is stress.
It is.
So
Right,
you need some
right.
skills, right? And you have a child, you've made choices to have multiple children. You know, you don't necessarily get a break from being a parent. It is part of your responsibilities in life. So what is this dark place that you're referring to?
I'm still like, I had a lot on my mind at times where I still think about my mom, her passing. I never mourned from that. I never mourned from that. My father, he going through his situation right now where he fighting cancer and stuff. It's things I still go through, but like you said, it is everyday life, so it's part of the stress. But I know I don't have no control over certain things.
Is loss. So is loss, you know, the
I
older we get, the more people we lose in our life, and you have to figure out how to process that loss and cope with it.
How to cope with it.
Yeah. So do you act out at the job? Are you aggressive and do you speak disrespectfully to people at your job?
No, at all. No, ma'am.
Okay, but you're willing to do that in home.
Which is.
So I want to say for the record that your account does not match the police report. The police report came on a domestic call at 6:40 in the evening. And it was also indicated that you all had been arguing throughout the day, and that she did look at your phone, and that's when you got irate and you punched her and clawed her in the eye.
Miss, you saying
saw a text on your phone.
Can I say something? You saying that it's saying we've been arguing throughout the day. So
you weren't asleep at the time that this assault went down.
We wasn't arguing throughout the day, miss. It wasn't no argument throughout the day. Like I said, it's always two sides to a story. We wasn't arguing throughout the day.
I'm working off of the official police report. So I'm just telling you, your account to us today does not match the police report. And you had already said to Officer Michelizzi that you didn't remember. You didn't remember half the things that you did, including striking the children. So I want to go back to your answer to my colleague about the impact on the children, because you said they're always going to remember it and there's going to be mental scars. It also causes damage to your relationship with them because they're afraid of you. They never know when you're going to act like you did that night. So the trust between parent-child that you should have with them has very damaged, right? And they're always going to be watching, being hyper-vigilant as, you know, part of coping with the trauma of that day, watching for signs that you're drunk again, listening for whether there's conflict starting between you and any other adult. So, you know, you really need to look into, whether it's in the facility or when you're back in the community, a parenting program, because you've got a lot of ground to gain back with your children in order to have an authentic relationship with them.
That's one thing I wanted.
Good.
That's
Yeah.
why I said with more programming and stuff like that, whatever programs that
Also going to
they
help
got.
you deal with stress. And that's something you have to pursue on your own. We're not going to stipulate you to go take a fatherhood program. You should intrinsically within yourself want that for the relationship. And it's going to help you manage stress as well, because you can't take stressful feelings out on your children. You can't cope with stress by drinking too much. It doesn't solve anything, as is evident by the case before us today. So I want to go back, your opening statement, you said you're just asking for a second chance. And I would say to you, Mr. Wise, you got that second chance in 2019 when the board granted you discretionary parole. So we've been giving you chances. And you've taken the programs and we're not seeing the change in the growth in you that we should. You're 29 now, so hopefully you're maturing and some of this is starting to get through to you, that this is not, the lifestyle that you want for yourself. Being in and out of the facility, being under supervision. Were any of your conditions of probation limiting your consumption of alcohol?
No, ma'am. Not to my knowledge. I don't remember all the conditions that he gave me.
What progress have you made on your GED?
I mean, I just missed it by 2-3 points.
Just
My
missed
social
what?
study, I gotta retake it. I just missed my social studies by 3 points. I needed a 145. I got a 142.
Have you taken any of the other three
But
tests?
it got us going in steps, miss. She got
Okay.
us going in steps.
So, all right.
But it's
So
just-
you're on step 1 and you've been unsuccessful. What's your plan?
Keep pursuing. I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna keep pursuing. That's something I know I really need and something I really want.
Yeah, you do need it because it is a foundation that you're going to build the rest of your life on. And you also need it to show your children that you value education so they'll stay in school and get smart. So I'm not sure in the note taking that I did while you made your opening statement that I heard you actually apologize. I know you took full accountability. You talked about your poor choices. You used when my crime was committed as opposed to, language that's more accepting of responsibility for you being the one committing the crime. If the victim were listening today, what would you want this person to know about how you feel? I mean, you completed the Voices program, so you understand the impact of your choices.
If she was listening today, or if they was listening today, I would just, like I said, I would like to apologize for them, for the physical damage that I caused to them and the mental state that I put them in. And I would like her to know, like, I truly do apologize, and I don't want her or my kids to think that I'm a bad father or they cannot trust me. And that I changed, I really did change, and I'm becoming a better man as days go on.
Yeah,
And I
because
just
it is a
asked for her
process.
to accept. I do ask her to accept my apology if she is listening or was to be listening today, along with my kids, to accept it. But I know it's a process and it's going to take time for y'all to still heal mentally.
Well, and you have a protective order that, you need to abide by in terms of any kind of reconnection and healing that you're referring to. Do you have any life goals for yourself, Mr. Wise?
I want to be successful. I want to be successful. I want to be a businessman. I want to open up my own company. I want to do things.
Open a company doing what?
Box trucks.
Well, you need to further your education if you're going to make a successful go of that big goal. That's pretty
That's what I
high
wanna
up there.
pursue my GED so that way I could go get my CDLs and take the next step.
Do you see that, that the result of your choice to drink to excess not only harmed a lot of people, it harmed you, and now you're incarcerated, and that it is a problem if you can't remember the details of the
Yes, ma'am.
incident?
Yes, ma'am. I see.
So, you know, you don't have to be drinking every day for alcohol.
You don't. It
to
can
be a
take one drink.
problematic. Can I finish?
Yes,
To
ma'am.
be a problematic choice for you. Especially, you know, as you've admitted, you went too far, didn't know when to stop. So. All right. Panel member Barry, any questions for Mr. Wise?
No. Thank you.
Okay. So, Mr. Wise, please sit quietly while we discuss your case. Ms. Palmieri?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Mr. Weiss, he's before us today for the three risk of injury counts. He has an underlying violation of probation where probation was terminated on the robbery first, and he has an unconditional discharge on the assault. He has a 6-year sentence with 3 years probation to follow his 12 years of that, 12 years suspended years that he's currently serving. Does have a history of domestic violence, a history of a violation of protective order. As I go back through the case, there were actually 3 protective orders in place on the last case. It's very troubling that he's had the domestic violence program a number of times and he still struggles with his behaviors and how to respond to difficult, stressful situations. Seems to me he keeps saying he should just walk away, and he seems to be unable to practice that strategy. He has 5 disciplinary reports. I hear what he's saying about the explanation form, but the fact remains he's still struggling to follow the rules at the facility. He wants to go to a halfway house. He does score moderate for risk to recidivate. At this time, I do not have Mr. Wise granted to discretionary parole. I do think that he would benefit from additional programming. Ms. Turner mentioned a fatherhood or a parenting program, which he might be able to advocate for himself for the remainder of his sentence. And I do think that he needs to take some type of a tier program. I realize he's only a 1, but perhaps he could attend AA, NA. I'm not saying I know it's available to him, but certainly he could advocate for himself. And all of that, I believe, would give him the best opportunity to live in the community and be successful on this 3 years of probation. But for right now, with his criminal history, the domestic violence that's all related to it, and the robbery one, there's just too much of a history of violence to find him suitable for parole today.
I have to say, I agree with the facts as you've laid them out. I'm just not hearing the change in Mr.
So
Wise.
y'all denying me because we still going off of my past history. Like, I understand, like, it's past history.
So,
It's
Mr. Wise, your portion of the hearing is over. We're deliberating. Please don't interrupt us. Thank you. We've given you an opportunity to speak at length. Give us an opportunity to discuss your case. Thank you.
As I was saying, I'm just not hearing evidence of change. I know he wants to accept responsibility. I'm not entirely confident he understands what that means. Perhaps the New Thinking program could also be of benefit to him. Where are you, Ms. Berry?
I don't I cannot support his discretionary parole either. I think that he really does have some anger issues. He has some unresolved things that he really does need to take care of prior to being suitable for discretionary parole. I heard you talk about the fatherhood program or embracing fatherhood. He's taken that before too. So it's really a matter of what he's able to retain and how he's able to apply it to his
Use it. Yeah.
life, going forward. I mean, yeah. So today I cannot support. I would entertain his coming back for another hearing. He's not done until 27, giving him an opportunity to prove himself. Like, I know he doesn't want to be in the prison. Nobody likes that. But the fact of the matter is the behaviors that he's displaying does warrant his remaining incarcerated. So for me, I really would like to see him do a little more programming, work on his sheet. There's lots of things he could do.
Okay.
So, and he's asking for the second chance, so he needs to prove that he's worthy of that fourth chance, fifth chance.
Where are you in terms of a rehearing?
I hadn't considered it, but I would not be opposed to it. I'm concerned with the most recent interruption where he's still struggling with impulsivity. And that need to be overpower people, maybe, but I do think that the New Thoughts program could be very helpful, like a fatherhood program, but maybe, and having taken it as a younger person, maybe taking it again as a little older, a newer father again might be helpful.
Coupled with anger management. Yeah.
I'm troubled with the fact that he is only a 1. And when you go back through the history, a lot of the behavior, it has an underlying substance abuse, alcohol.
Well, and in the case notes in 2019, he was a 1 then too. I went back to see while he was talking whether his score had dropped at some point.
Yeah. So I'm not sure it's reasonable to think that he would get a tier program.
I wouldn't be willing to hear him again before November of 2026.
Okay.
So the reasons right now would be poor institutional adjustment, inadequate evidence of offender change, and I'd add inadequate release plan. If he's coming back before us, he should use this time to develop a stronger release plan. Are you okay with those 3?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Wise, in the matter of Tobias Wise, inmate number 403364, there is a motion to deny parole at this time for the following reasons. Your poor institutional adjustment, inadequate evidence of offender change, and an inadequate release plan. I further move to rehear you in November of 2026 with the recommendation that you not get any additional disciplinary reports and you complete additional programming to benefit yourself, such as a fatherhood program, anger management, New Thoughts, and continue on your efforts to obtain your GED. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's the best we can do for you, Mr. Wise. Now, ball's in your court. If you want to step up and get busy, we recommend you do so.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Have a good morning.
This concludes the hearing for Tobias Wise, number 403364.